I'm sure you. Oh, you can't talk right.
Let's begin this committee of the whole meeting for November 5th, 2024. Call to order. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Alderman Barrero?
Here.
Alderwoman Garza?
Here.
Alderman Masiacos?
Present.
Alderman Donnell?
Here.
Alderman Franco?
Here.
Alderman Seville?
Here.
Alderman Tolliver? Alderwoman Smith?
Here.
Alderman Bugg?
Here.
Alderwoman Bade?
Here.
Alderman Lash?
Present.
Alderman Warman?
Here.
Mayor Evans present.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes of October
Moved.
15, 2024? Motion made by Alderman Smith, second by Alderman Garza. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries by voice vote. Mr. Muhammad?
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Happy Election Day. Of course, in a couple hours as the polls close, we'll be all just watching the results come in and understanding how this impacts our future. And to that, we have young people here in Aurora who are just as concerned about the future, particularly of the divisiveness in politics. And we have a shining star, a young man at Wabansie Valley High School, Ward 8, who's taken it upon himself to help be the voice of the next generation when it comes to civic engagement and political participation and encouraging others to be involved. Let's take a quick look before we introduce him tonight.
We also know what's coming up very, very soon.
Next Tuesday.
And that would be next Tuesday. The presidential election is just 4 days away. And there's been a big push to get young voters to the polls.
So we welcome to the show today, Shom Joshi. Thank you for being here.
Thank you guys so much for having me. This is such a cool opportunity to be able to come here and talk about the work we do, so thank you.
Well, listen, it is our pleasure. You're a senior at Wabansie Valley High School.
Yes, yeah.
Right. So how did you get so civic-minded, and how long have you been doing this?
Yeah, so I would say in recent years, there's been kind of this uptick in political polarization, and there's really been this rise in youth in unwillingness to listen to those who have differing political opinions. And even, I think we've all seen kind of in the national media and on TV and social media, there's just a whole lot of feuds over political debates, and there's not actual productive dialogue and productive conversations. And so I think that's been on the rise in the past few years, and I think I've kind of seen that, and that's kind of what inspired me to get involved and really just try to make a positive impact in my community and do what I do.
Well, Shom, are you 17 years old?
Yes, I am 17.
So you can't even technically vote
No, I
yet.
can't.
But I think it's so awesome
Thank you.
that you are showing this passion and creating an energy for students who are up-and-coming voters.
Yeah.
So there's something called Project Teal. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so Project Teal, Teal first of all stands for Tolerance, Engagement, Action, and Learning.
Nice.
And Project Teal is essentially a youth-led high school organization. We're all high schoolers. And basically our goal is to promote civic engagement amongst youth and get young people to be excited about politics. There's two facets to what we do. So there's education and then there's advocacy. In regards to our education, we create educational workshops that we present at our local libraries and community centers. And then we also spread them across the country to different educators, and they get hold of them as well. And then we also host different lobbying events in which we lobby and support different bills and advocate for bills which outline increased civics curriculum in school, and really just we advocate for bills which support what we as young people go through and support bills that help mitigate the problems that we go through.
And keep up the great work.
Thank
I know
you.
we're out of time. You're getting ready. You're in your senior year. What do you want to do when you grow up?
Something with politics.
I knew it. I knew it. Okay, Shom Joshi, thank you so much for being. All the best in the college admission process. We were chatting about that. And you can learn more about the nonprofit Project Teal at projectteal.org.
Yeah, definitely keep up the good work.
Thank you.
And Election Day is coming on Tuesday, November 5th, so be sure to get out the vote.
So Project Teal, a national organization with its executive director right here from Aurora. Round of applause for senior from Wabansie Valley High School. Shom Joshi is here. Mayor, if you can join us down, Alderwoman Smith, as we share on this election night the importance of having our youth involved. And the mayor will present Shom with an award. He'll share briefly more about Project Teal. We're just so proud that you're from Aurora, doing this work on a national level, impacting our youth and our educators, throughout the board here.
First of all, let's give a round of applause for Shom. Very articulate young man making a difference here in the city of Aurora and around our country. You know, I'd like to give this Mayor's Award of Excellence and honor be presented to Shom Joshi, Executive Director of Project Teal, for your leadership in getting young people involved in the democratic process through tolerance, engagement, action, and learning. That is great. Let's give him another round of applause. Shom.
So I just want to say, Shom, I just met you just a few minutes ago. I didn't realize you were even going to be here this evening, and I am so proud of the work that you are doing in our community. Of course, for Wabanzi, as you know, go Warriors. But you are of the generation that is going to fix what we have broken. In politics, it is our fault that we've become so decisive, and your generation, my children's generation, are going to fix the problems that we have created. So keep doing the good work that you do. Keep that positive attitude and that nonpartisan attitude to go along with it, and it's going to take you a very long way. So congratulations.
Another round of applause.
Thank you, Mayor Irvin, respected city council leaders, audience members, and the city of Aurora for this honor and recognition. I'm super grateful to be here, especially on election day. It's kind of ironic. But yeah, I think Project Teal has really started as it was started with the idea of trying to provide young people with a space to engage in politics respectfully and civically engage. And I think along the way, I've kind of seen how when we unite around a common cause and when we as young people work together and use our voices, we can really create a huge difference and create a positive impact in our communities and beyond. And I think our generation, Gen Z, has a lot of pressing issues and problems to solve. But I think we also have the unique opportunity to kind of bridge political divides and bridge political gaps and work together to solve these problems and create a more equitable and just future. And I think that civic engagement is really something that we should all be practicing, not just young people, but all. But yeah, I also want to quickly thank my Project Teal members and everyone who's helped me along the way. I'm super thankful for everybody's help. And once again, I want to thank everyone for this award. So thank you.
I just have to ask a question. Are you sure you're only 18 years old, brother? 17, not even 18 yet. Wow. Let's give him another round of applause. Oh my gosh, so impressive, young man. Wow. And let's figure out how to use Project Teal here at the city of Aurora and throughout our city and community to make sure that we're doing exactly what you said, man. This civic engagement and being able to communicate with each other without the hate, without the divisiveness, that's very important. And that's about being an American. Wow, that's great. One more round of applause. Wow, this is amazing. Come on up here. They must be so proud. Wow, so proud of yourself. So articulate.
Another round of applause for Shom Joshi. Project Teal, national nonpartisan organization with an executive director right here in Aurora's executive team comes from throughout the country. We'll have links sent out to their website and work to engage as the mayor and all the women take their seats. I want to remind you that this weekend, another busy weekend in Aurora, Film Festival on Friday and Saturday, with Saturday having a special filming of Brothers in War right here in City Council chambers, and a closing awards ceremony with Cole Bennett, the young influencer and video master that he is. And then on Mondays, our annual Veterans Day Parade with all of our veterans organizations here in Aurora. Our special guest will be former prisoner of war Jessica Lynch, the first American female rescued ever, and the first soldier rescued since World War II. It's been 21 years since she was captured and rescued, and she's still out telling her story and encouraging people to stay focused. So thank you so much, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Muhammad. All right. Before we go on to the next portion of the agenda, public comment, I know many people are here for presentations. So I'll give young Sham and his parents an opportunity to file out. Unless you'd like to stay, trust me, we'd love to have you here, but we give you a time to leave if you. I know you got to probably go to school tomorrow. 17-year-old. So all right. So anybody else that's here for a presentation that would like to file out before we start the next portion of our agenda, I'll give you a few seconds and let the record reflect that Alderman Tolliver is present at City Council. All right, looks like everybody that's looking to leave has left City Council chambers. We will go on to the next portion of the agenda, public comment. Madam Clerk, do we have any members of the public wishing to offer public comment?
We do, Mr. Mayor.
Please read the rules of public comment.
Pursuant to the Open Meetings Act, all persons shall be permitted an opportunity to address public officials under the rules established and recorded by the council. Under our rules, any person may address the committee of the whole for up to 3 minutes, with a maximum of 30 minutes allotted for all public comment. No person other than the timekeeper or the chair, for the purpose of maintaining order, may interrupt a person recognized for public comment during his or her comments. Members of the committee of the whole shall not engage with nor respond to a speaker during the time set aside for public comment. Staff is directed to follow up with members of the public with respect to any concerns raised during public comment within the scope of the city's authority following the adjournment of this meeting.
Will you call the first speaker wishing to offer public comment?
We just have one speaker. It's Mercy Galicia.
I'm going to wait until next week.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Galicia. That concludes our speakers for this evening. Let's go on to the next portion of the agenda, committee reports. Chairwoman Patty Smith, can you give the Building, Zoning, and Economic Development Committee report, please?
Certainly, Mr. Mayor. The Building, Zoning, and Economic Development Committee's meeting scheduled for October 23rd, 2024 was canceled due to no items on the agenda. So that's all I have.
Thank you very much. Chairman Franco, can you give the Finance Committee report, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Finance Committee met on October 24, 2024, and reviewed the following items: 24-0694, a resolution amending the agreement between the city and Aurora Downtown for the provision of special services and the payment of the proceeds of special service area taxes collected in the area constituting Special Service Area 1. And this resolution will make it easier for Aurora Downtown to join the Invest Aurora and the other chambers in their new entity. This will reduce the termination notice from 365 days to 90 days.
No objections. I'm sorry. Question.
I'll put it on unfinished.
Unfinished.
Question, Mayor?
Alderman Masiacos.
Yes. Can someone from staff or maybe the chairman can explain to us this new Article 22 amendment?
Staff?
Clarify an example of where this would be utilized.
Ms. Voigt.
Good afternoon, committee. Alex Voigt from the mayor's office. If you'll, let's see here. Forgive me while I pull this up. This would just be if there were any in terms of the agreement that Aurora Downtown has voted to enter into, that the council just had a presentation on. This would be if both parties, if there was another aspect of the agreement that both parties wish to enter into. This offers a bit more flexibility, if I'm not mistaken.
Council.
Ms. Voigt is correct. This is intended to be used potentially in coordination with proposed Article 12, in that as the two organizations begin effectively to change the relationship with each other, if it became necessary for Aurora Downtown to cease doing some of the things that it's obligated to do under the agreement, this would allow us to basically release them from those obligations as they move closer to the termination of the agreement.
Because when you say "we" here, it reads the mayor of the city and the chairman of Aurora Downtown, made by written agreement. My thought is, what happens is include monetary amounts that may be adjusted or not adjusted, and then how does that affect the budget? And where does the city council fit in that, if at all?
So the funds for Aurora Downtown come from the Special Service Area 1.
Right.
And in terms of this agreement covers any outstanding bills that they may incur through the transition process. Is that what you're referring to, Alderman?
That too, I would say. I mean, I'm just trying to I'm trying to understand where this might come into play in terms of finances, if at all. City finances. I know you're talking about SSA right now, but
So I guess his question is this going to cost the city any money?
No.
No, the question revolves around decisions afterwards. It's a new article. Where would it be applied, if at all?
Where would what be applied, brother? You're not being clear.
This article, it says, okay, so the mayor and the chairman, by written agreements, corporate authorities may reduce or relieve one party of the duties owed to the other.
Counsel.
Alderman, what this would allow each side to do essentially is imagine a situation, the purpose of the amendment is to contemplate an earlier wind down of the operation of Aurora Downtown. If part of that wind down means that during the time that notice is given that we're going to terminate the agreement,
okay,
this allows you to slowly kind of pull down some of those obligations to each other.
Okay, now it makes sense to me. All right, appreciate it very much. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? None. This is going unfinished.
Next one is 24-0725, resolution authorizing Standard and Associates as the provider for services of pre-employment psychological assessments through December 31st, 2024. This is a mandatory psychological assessment requirement for public safety personnel. We have used Standard and Associates for 17 years.
No objections. Item going consent.
Next one is 24-0741, a resolution authorizing consulting statement of work, generative artificial intelligence policy, strategy, and roadmap from International Data Corporation, Research Incorporated, Needham, Massachusetts, for a one-year term not to exceed $136,570. And if Mr. Peggy's or somebody from IT is there, give a brief explanation of the AI situation we're encountering.
So good evening, Mike Piggies, Chief Information Officer here at the City of Aurora.
I'm Kevin Brimberry. I'm with IDC.
All right, so good evening, Council. Today we're going to be talking about the resolution that's before you. Let me just go ahead and go down. So they turn this on. All right. Get a second here. There we go. All right. So before we get started, I'm going to let Mr. Brimberry give a brief introduction.
It's funny. This was like 5 paragraphs earlier, and then Mike sent it into ChatGPT and wound it down a little. So actually, I've been with IDC for over 8 years, working with municipalities, state governments, cities as well. I manage the state of Illinois for all of our clients and future clients. And one of the things that we're talking about now is Gen AI, which I think is something on the cutting edge these days, and it's not going away. You heard about crypto. That was a shiny object. This is not a shiny object. This is going to help transform the city of Aurora, helping you wind down expenses, create new jobs within that. So just kind of at a high level, that's what we're here to talk about today. So.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Bimber. We'll go on here. So let me just start off just by first just giving a little definition in terms of generative AI in just simple terms. So it's a type of artificial intelligence that helps create content based on patterns and data. Think of it as kind of a digital artist or a writer that basically is coming up with new ideas, images, text, and content. For example, here at the City of Aurora, one of the ways we could actually utilize generative AI is with our chat box for citizen services. So just imagine if the city is using generative AI to help power chat box for intelligent call centers like 311. That's just one example, to help us to interact with those citizens when there's not a live person there, maybe after hours or on weekend. Also, these chat boxes can also, just common questions like, what are the office hours for the city clerk? How do I report a pothole? Or who is my alderman or alderwoman in this particular ward? So you can imagine some of the power around how we can use generative AI. We can also use it, for instance, to potentially generate and fill out permits or forms of that nature to populate with certain data to help streamline the process and to create efficiencies. So just to kind of give you an idea in terms of generative AI, in terms of what that actually means. Go to the next one. So with that, I think it was back in June of this year, we had our initial kind of kickoff and workshop over at the police department in the media center, along with the mayor's office, IT, and different stakeholders from county, state, and also private, and also education. And just looking at how the city could basically employ AI capabilities and use it to its benefits. And I'm going to just play this video here. It's about 2 minutes and 20 seconds, and it'll give you an idea what some of that feedback was.
See it, you can see it, and you can feel it. Aurora, Illinois is on the ascent, reaching new heights of innovation.
Technology is an underpinning foundation of everything we do at the City of Aurora. It drives our operation, it drives our revenue, it drives services, it drives everything.
Through outreach, education, and execution, we have been bold and strategic in implementing new innovation and technology. We've set a technological foundation that cements our status as one of America's quintessential smart cities.
I see Aurora.
That's not the video that I wanted to play. But anyway, I'll actually go ahead and actually move forward. With that, I'm going to kick it over to Kevin here to kind of go over the project overview, and I'll get the video here in a second.
Well, it's funny that mentioned smart cities. So actually IDC, not to derail this today, but IDC was one of the major consulting companies that actually started working with smart cities probably about 7 years ago. That doesn't seem too long, but yet the technology has been forming and forming and forming over the years. So we actually have a team in Italy this week talking about global smart city initiatives as well. So let me just get this real quick. So basically the project overview kind of has 3 phases. The first phase is going to be able to help establish the Gen AI policy. What that's going to do, it's going to be a 4-week process. It's going to be an iterative process for all of the stakeholders that you guys will actually mandate, or not mandate, but help create, right, internally. And basically we're going to align city technology for responsible framework. So really, our team's going to collaborate with your team over the 4 weeks. It'll be very iterative. There's already processes in place. I have a statement of work that kind of goes in detail on what these are. Secondly, the phase 2 is going to develop the Gen AI strategy. This process will take 8 weeks. Again, looking at talking more iteratively with all of the stakeholders involved, making sure that we're going to address the city's technology strategies. The third phase is basically going to be create the roadmap. And that's going to be 4 weeks, or I'm sorry, 6 weeks. That'll be a 6-week process. This will actually wrap everything up in a document that will provide to the city and to Michael as well, working with him on the outcomes on where we think the city of Aurora needs to kind of have their policy, strategy, and roadmap developed. So, and with that, to kind of finalize, why you should be doing that. Really, Gen AI will help the city of Aurora by automating processes within all your departments. The Gen AI technologies create new content, thus streamlining operations and reducing expenses. Thirdly, who is involved? Well, it's you guys. It's the city of Aurora. It's the citizens. It's going to be IT. It's going to be HR. It's going to be legal. So and we can help create autonomy around all of those as well, based on the roadmap that we've created as well for the city. And finally, by partnering with IDC, we feel that we're one of the best partners out there to collaborate. We've been doing this for many years, and going to help you create this so you can be ready for today and down the future, because this is going to be a working document. It's not going to go away. It's going to be here to live and live and live, because Gen AI is not going away. I could throw statistics at you all day long, but I'm not here to do that today. So we just want to kind of talk high level on how we can actually help create this Gen AI roadmap. Thank you.
So let's go just to give you some real practical kind of use cases, and we're starting at a very kind of fundamental level. We want to keep them simple. We want to actually take the low-hanging fruit. So some of those use cases it can help us actually to basically develop policy, And as you can see, it can help us to streamline that creation, so we're not sitting there trying to kind of figure out what to write. Obviously, there is some review that needs to be done with any type of artificial intelligence tools, but it can help generate the basic content to kind of move that process along faster. One, also on technical and non-technical documents, as we talked about. Also on our test cases and test data when we're creating our open data portals and things of that nature as well. A big area is around HR as well, and taking those kind of repetitive tasks and automating those and using Gen AI to help streamline those processes so the people can actually do higher level tasks, more strategic activities. And some of the ones that we're really focused on is around the constituent self-service. We talked a little bit about intelligent call centers, no pun intended there, with 311, right? Even activities around with our water billing as well. So it can help basically enhance that experience for the constituents, and we're always focusing on the constituents. Again, grant management, as we all know, that's a process that takes a lot of time to sit there and write these documents out, just as with legal as well. Generative AI can help us to kind of accelerate those processes to be more productive. Press releases and communications, and also with the city clerk on a lot of activities for summarization, maybe even for the city council documentation as well, and RFQs and RFPs as well. So those are just some of the productivity-focused use cases that we're going to be looking at. Again, how you say, low risk, but high impact in terms of productivity.
And really, what are the benefits, really? They're data decision-making things. It's like we're going to collaborate with all this data and help you to make really good decisions around what you need to be doing next. Citizen engagement. Mike talked about the 311. That's going to be big. How can we help the citizens get involved in this? When you get the citizens involved, it's going to have more of an impact to the city. They're going to feel like they're part of this today. And thirdly, operational efficiency and cost savings. We haven't quantified this yet because we're so new, but the impact's going to be big for everyone involved here. You can put a monetary dollar on that, but depending on how far we go, that's where you really see the value and how we're going to help you today.
All right. And I just want to add, by implementing, this policy strategy and roadmap here for the city of Aurora, we stand to greatly benefit, as Kevin talked about, from that data-driven decision making, which basically will enhance our citizen engagement. Also increase those operational efficiencies. And these initiatives will not only foster a more connected and responsive city, but also drive the cost savings, resource optimization, and making the city actually smarter in the way we do business and more inclusive, and also creating a more sustainable community. And with that, we will entertain any questions that the council may have, since I had the wrong
questions.
Video
Alderman
on
Smith.
USB.
Yeah, I have a few questions. Kind of old school, so a lot of this AI stuff is a little hard to grasp onto when I'm still writing notes on paper and pen. So would this AI protocol that you're talking about, would this create a customer service invoice for our residents as they call in for customer service to complain or to look for a service? Is it something that can create that?
No, but we actually wouldn't focus it on generative AI creating invoices to that expect. It's more about addressing questions, right? Also creating content. For example, if someone calls and asks a question that typically you have to wait for a physical human to do it, there could be a list of 1,000 frequently asked questions, right? And that Gen AI, or I should say that AI assistant, can address those questions as if it was a human, right? And it gives a very discrete answer, not a list of different things, but a very discrete answer. If you say, who is my alderman for the 7th Ward, right? And then they would respond to that and tell who that is, right? And probably some additional information that's being provided in our enterprise database with regards to that.
And you talk about citizen engagement. Elaborate on that a little bit, because as you said, it's great for citizen engagement, other than, I guess, using the example you just used, if somebody asked a question, but that's not really engaging, it's answering a question.
Well, that is engagement, actually, just to clarify. But also, city clerk, they can also kind of address questions around, I mean, whatever question that you could potentially ask someone, right? We could set it up where, you know, that AI assistant would be addressing questions that typically someone has to pick up the phone, right? So, and again, within an enterprise, I say artificial intelligence type system, we create the data within our, I'll say our realm, right? So if there's 1,000 different questions that we've seen that have been asked on a daily basis, whether it's city clerk or 311 or, you know, someone calling water billing or calling public works, we can take all those frequently asked questions and basically provide that as source data to that AI assistant that can address those questions, right?
So do you feel like this is just going to make us more efficient?
100%.
More-
Absolutely.
And then what happens after this resolution is for 1 year? What happens after the first year?
You want to do a second?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, it's going to be a living, breathing document. So what's going to happen is we're going to say, okay, here's what happened year one. What did we learn, and where do you want to go in year two? What kind of process do you want to start to tackle? Again, we're trying to get the low-hanging fruit right now so we can show the value in what we're trying to do. Secondly, once that happens, what's going on next year? We have no idea what's going on. We're kind of in a loop right now till, like, hopefully tomorrow maybe with this election. But again, it's going to help us figure out where you want to go as a city to help you focus on that. So.
And also, but for year one, to be a little bit more discreet, one, it will be the development of the policy. The second deliverable will be with regards to the actual strategy. And third will be that roadmap development, what's beyond the second year's up, which I believe you're asking, right? So what's next after that, right? But a lot of it's around, you know, creating a policy, which is going to require a lot of engagement, right? From all departments, also from the public, and also from the aldermen and the council and everyone here. So that's year one, right? Those are those three deliverables that are outlined within your resolution there.
So I have more questions, but I'll ask you offline next in the upcoming week. Is that
Absolutely.
okay? Thank you.
Alderman Seville?
Yes, just a qualifying or a question here. You have a 3-page staff report. At the bottom of the staff report, you talked about the event that you held June 20th and who was being representative there. You mentioned Indiana State Government there. Is that a typo?
For which one?
Indiana State Government.
No, they actually were there.
They were there?
Actually,
Who were here from the Indiana State Government?
Yeah, so his name is Colin Hill. He's actually the CIO for the city of Indiana as well. So he's actually Indianapolis. Yeah. So he was invited there. I've actually partnered with him as well on certain contracts, and he was looking at that. We're trying to help them also build. I think this is also public information, an AI strategy as well for the city of Indianapolis. So looking at it holistically, he wanted to learn more. And what he took back with, he actually helped create a document within ChatGPT and was able to put everything in there and, for a better word, spit it out. And he actually liked it because what he was writing, it consolidated his words, and then he was able to provide that back to other people what he was dealing with.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Mayor, can I give one more example?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so just the chat, AI, chat, yeah, so I'm not that off base. I actually just wrote my daughter's entire wedding ceremony by using that and using multiple pieces of that and putting it together for one ceremony, so just to add that.
It was quick, wasn't it?
It was quicker than me doing it, let's put it that way.
Alderman Barrero?
Yeah, my question is, and excuse me for not knowing this answer, but is there a software component to this?
There's a big software component to it. Yeah, and that'll be part of the strategy when we assess, you know, what applications out there have an AI component to it, because a lot of the things we use today, it's already there. You probably just don't know, and that's part of the strategy piece, to assess that, to understand what's out there in our environment and how that's being used as well.
Any other questions? Alderman Donnell?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Like Alderman Smith, I'm a little old school, so I'm trying to understand, trying to learn, get up to speed. And I just want to make a comment. We have a customer service program where you call and you get a person, and I continuously get compliments on this program. So I know we want to be, kind of looking forward and ahead of the curve, but I don't want us to lose that personal touch that I think we're known for.
And I apologize if I'm not clear. It is not intended to replace, right? So we will have, humans will be there answering the phone. I'm just saying, if it's after hours and there's not an individual, that's when we could potentially deploy it, or on the weekends.
Okay,
right?
thank you.
So, absolutely.
Alderman Masiacos.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. It's a great first step, for sure. My question revolves around the policy part, the first part. What plans, if any, are there to come back to share with us, whether at city council or committee, or a memo, an email about where we're at with the policy? Because I see there's there's various steps here in our docket explained to us in regards to how that's going to happen, 4, 5, 6, 7, in all terms about policy. So development, step 4 is development, step 2 is a draft, or step 5 is a draft, step 6 is finalizing, and step 7 is final policy review and phase closeout. And then also in there it says city's feedback. What does that mean in IDC's proposal?
Right. So also, just to go back to June when we had the initial kind of kickoff, we have representatives from all 13 departments. Also, we have representatives from the alderman's office. We have representatives from education, private sector, the state, and the county. Just like we had in June, as part of this process, we will be engaging with all 13 department heads and also everyone that's on this dais today to make sure there's input and review on there. So you will be actively involved in that, and we will make sure.
Okay, because what I'm trying to get at ultimately is, there's a it's a big topic right now with people who are keeping an eye on AI in our community, and I'm sure they would want to know what the policy is as well.
And absolutely, and there is a public component on there as well.
Okay, and when that public component would come when after it's established, or right before?
No, it would come during that 1 year.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And actually, we're looking for the aldermen and women to be the face of that component to the public within your wards.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much.
Alderman Lash.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to be clear about some technical details, there's 3 phases here. Is this paying just for phase 1 and you'll be coming back, or does this pay for all 3 phases?
This pays for the first year, the total scope of work. It's all 3.
Okay. And then you had mentioned new jobs potentially. What jobs will potentially be created and what jobs will be potentially eliminated?
No jobs will be eliminated. We never said that, actually. There's potential that if there's a job that could be automated, also new jobs could be created as well. For example, data scientist, IT ethics officer, data prompt engineer. So there's a whole litany of different jobs that could be created with the evolution of AI as we move forward. But not specifically, we're saying here within this first year, we're going to eliminate jobs.
Okay, and then we mentioned the 311 number. What about 911? Is there a plan to integrate this with our 911?
No, we're not doing anything with public safety.
And then was this put through a competitive bid process through an RFP?
There was a procurement mechanism on there because it was already bidded on a state contract.
And then my only other question is, what other similar cities, you mentioned Indianapolis, but are there any other municipalities that have successfully implemented this beyond sort of the roadmap phase, and what does that look like?
Not that I've worked with, but I know we have, so I just can't tell you who they are today.
Okay, and Indianapolis is where they at and compared to where we're at?
We're ahead of them because we're on the cutting edge. So we're one of the few municipalities that is actually starting out with a Gen AI roadmap like this, at least with IDC that I'm aware of. But Kevin, you can confirm.
And I think with Indiana, I think they're taking a different approach. They're actually looking at it at a high level, at the legislative level, which in my opinion doesn't work because you want to get down to the ground level and get down here first, because you don't want to start to. Yeah, it's way too high. They're just sitting in, no offense, but they're just sitting in chairs in a big room trying to figure out what AI is. We're actually helping you work with the city of Aurora on where you need to go and then execute it. So, which is, to me, is totally different.
I think hold it on unfinished for now, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Alderman Bug.
Thank you. I appreciate the credentials and the 10-page document for IDC. And you said this came through a procurement that we already did?
It was on a state contract, I believe.
Yeah, can we add that information to the legislative text?
We can do that.
Pardon?
I said we can do that, Alderman.
Yeah, no, yeah, normally that's where we find it. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, unfinished? Next item.
All right, so the next one is 24-0774, a resolution approving the purchase of bulk rock salt in the amounts of $68.02 and $68.54 per ton from Morton Salt Incorporated Chicago and Compass Minerals America Incorporated Orland Park, Kansas for the Division of Street Maintenance under the State of Illinois Joint Purchasing Agreement bid for the 2024-2025 winter season.
Consent.
And purchasing from the two agencies gives the street department flexibility for future supplies and pricing.
With no objection, this item go on consent.
24-0797, a resolution authorizing expenditures to Game Time in excess of $50,000 for renovations of Bishop Bonner Park. This is
Consent.
replace 20-year-old playground equipment.
With no objection, this item go on consent.
And finally,
Mayor, question, please.
I'm sorry,
You have
Alderman
a question?
Masiacos.
Yeah, I just like a little clarification from a policy perspective. I mean, it's great that we're doing this. If somebody could just reiterate what I think I'm reading, is that we're pretty much putting up an additional $49,000 or $50,000 to make it ADA compatible, right? In addition to this grant money that's coming in?
Good afternoon, Gio Santana, Superintendent Parks and Recreation. The 49,000 component is for poured-in-place rubber, which is replacing the typical mulch surfacing. The rubber does make it ADA accessible as well as it's maintenance-free, which makes it easier to maintain. Don't have to replace mulch on an annual basis, and it's longer-lasting surfacing of playgrounds. That's the typical stuff that you're starting to see in newer playgrounds around town.
All right. What I want to get at is from a policy perspective, are we going to be making all our playgrounds ADA accessible?
Yes, that is something we're
with the
looking
system?
at. Yep, for not only for accessibility, but also for ease of maintenance.
And is that for the 2026 budget or the 2025?
No, we actually started that a few years ago. We started with the playground at Wilder Park, McCarty Park, the newer playground at Phillips Park. So as we redo
Okay.
playgrounds, that is the goal, to make them
So
all.
it's just an automatic whenever it comes up, I guess. Or what? How
yeah.
do we approach it? How's that from a policy perspective, moving forward? And how you been doing it? You said you've done it before.
As we
How do we pick?
as we redo a playground.
Yeah, do you
so-
have a plan? or-
Yes, so as we go to different playground locations, we're converting each location at the time of renovations.
Okay.
This is your ward, Alderman Tolliver. Can you speak to this a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, from the residents in the Ward 7, I mean, they've been wanting, well, obviously a lot of renovations in the Ward 7 parks itself, but this is the one that comes up the most. After we discussed this in the Finance Committee, I got calls and just going around knocking on doors. They're really excited about this. It's been a long time coming, and we appreciate it and all the work that you've done on this, Gio.
Thank you. Any other questions?
No, well, the reason I asked the question, Mayor, is because I was over at a park just about 2 weeks ago, over by the REC Center, East Aurora Rec Center, and there were some kids out there, and there's a couple of parents that weren't happy with the mulch, and said there's got to be something better over there. So my thought is, if we have a plan to redo all these parks, is there a way to find out where some of these parks are down the pipeline moving forward? You said there's a plan.
Yeah, so for example, Phillips Park, when we, in the master plan, the various playgrounds at Phillips Park that are being called for renovations, that is the plan as we redo, like the main playground, the Watchbreak Playground. When we redid the Mastodon Island Playground, that was converted a portion over to pour in place. So that, like I said, as we redo each playground location, the plan is to go away from the mulch surfacing.
All right, because we haven't seen the master plan for Phillips Park yet. I mean, it was established at the finance meeting. It still hasn't come out to us, so we haven't seen that either. So, but just trying to understand, how these parks can be addressed moving forward. How are they going to be addressed moving forward? That's what I'm asking, if there's a living, breathing document out there of a to-do list.
Yeah, we can see about getting something over to the aldermans.
All right, thank you so much.
Any other questions? No objections, time to go on consent.
Thank you.
And finally, the Finance Committee also met on October 17th, 18th, 21st, 23rd, 25th, 29th, 30th, November 4th, to review the proposed 2025 budget. Next Thursday, at the regularly scheduled Finance meeting, the Finance Committee will make a final review, and recommend that the budget proceed to the December 3rd COW meeting, followed by a special City Council meeting, where the Council will review the proposed budget for 2025. And based on all these dates that I put out there, I want to thank the committee. This was a lot of dates in a short period of time. I think we're up here, and they can maybe every single day last week, and then a fifth Tuesday week. So thanks to the committee, a lot of hard work again with everybody. Alderman Donnell, special thanks. None of the committee came out just about every time, so kudos to you. And again, thanks to the finance department. Thanks for all the departments out there. Everybody does a lot of work. We will be thanking everybody again and again, but just want everybody to know that this was a team effort going forward. Started in the summer, kind of finishing off right now, and we're very pleased with the product so far, but we'll give a final report in a couple weeks. And that concludes the Finance Committee report.
Thank you very much. Chairman Seville, can you give the Public Health, Safety, and Transportation Committee report, please?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The Public Health, Safety, and Transportation Committee met on October 22nd, 2024, and we reviewed the following item, 24-0756, resolution establishing the maximum number of Class B on-site consumption banquet hall liquor licenses unofficially related to the application from MCV Holdings LLC DBA The Vault 106 at 106 West Indian Trail, and this is in Ward 6.
Consent.
This is a
Consent.
banquet facility. The owners are here. If you have any questions for them, and they've recently upgraded the kitchen at the city's recommendation. And this is by the White Castle around the corner there of Indian Trail and Lake Street.
No objections, item going consent.
Consent, okay, and that's the report from PHS&T, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Chairwoman Garza, can you give the Infrastructure and Technology Committee report, please?
Yes, Mayor. We met on October 21st. The first item is 24-0730, a resolution authorizing the execution of Phase 3 Construction Engineering Services contract with HR Green for the not to exceed amount of $1,924,344 for the Francisco Wilters Church roadway widening, resurfacing, intersection improvements.
Consent.
No objections, item go.
Next item 24-
Unfinished.
Okay. Next item 24-0739, a resolution to award a contract to R.W. Doneman Company to bid amount of $19,523,900 for the Francisco Wilters Church roadway improvement project.
Consent.
Unfinished.
Unfinished.
Quick statement, if I may. Just so the other members understand where I'm coming from on this, but the way I'm looking at this, and I made these points during the Cyrus 1 discussion as well, that if instead of passing these costs on to the taxpayers, if we were to use that Cyrus 1 money here on this road infrastructure improvement plan, it would reduce the burden on the taxpayers. And number two, as we do things like the Orchard Road sound wall or other improvements, we always ask the residents to pay, and I don't see that the primary beneficiaries on this infrastructure improvement are paying anything into the pot.
Well, the primary beneficiaries are the residents of Aurora when streets and roads are fixed in the city of Aurora. But thank you very much. We'll put that on the finished. Go ahead with the next item.
Next item is 24-0775, a resolution authorizing the Director of Purchasing to provide funding to Leopardo Construction of Homan Estates, Illinois, an amount of $11,488, $361 for the complete warranty maximum price, scope not including soft costs, with 5% contingency for the construction for the new fire station number 9.
No objections, item going consent.
Next item 24-0776, a resolution authorizing the Director of Purchasing to provide funding to Leopardo Construction of Homan State, Illinois, the amount of $12,813,326 for the complete guaranteed maximum price, scope not including soft costs, with 5% contingency for the construction of the new fire station number 30.
With no objections, item going consent.
We complete the meeting, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Chairman Warman, can you give the Rules, Administration, and Procedure Committee report, please?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Rules Administration and Procedures Committee was scheduled to meet on October 15, 2024. However, there were no items on the agenda. Therefore, that meeting was canceled. Today, the Rules Administration and Procedures Committee met today, November 5th, 2024, and reviewed the following item. Resolution 24-0834, a resolution authorizing the department heads of the city to enter into agreements with public agencies for access to certain data thereof.
Consent.
Consent.
Alderman Lesh.
Could we just get a brief overview of how this is going to be applied in the real world.
Mr. Mayor, may I present from?
Please do, Council.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Alderman, the concept would be, from time to time, the city needs to access, in many cases, state data. The example that brought this forward was the need of the law department, through its prosecutors, to have access to Secretary of State's driving records, which is useful in prosecuting of DUIs or other traffic offenses. We need to have a citywide adoption as opposed to just the law department, which is the reason for this coming to the council. But the thought would be that when a department head is presented with the need to enter one of these agreements with the state or another political subdivision, that they bring that to the law department in the form of a legal ticket. We would then review that to make sure that it's something that we can legally comply with. It then would be provided to the IT department for review by the chief cybersecurity officer to make sure that the technical aspects of complying with that, whatever security precautions the state would require or the other subdivision would require, that we're able to meet those obligations, so we're not signing something that we can't adhere to.
Okay, so this just expedites the process a little bit between interdepartment and intergovernment.
Exactly.
No further questions.
Any other questions? No objections, item going consent.
That concludes Rules Administration and Procedures Committee.
Thank you very much. Let's go on to the next portion of the agenda, new business. Madam Clerk, you read the first item under new business.
240854, a resolution authorizing the execution of a partnership agreement with the Conservation Foundation as a necessary component of the proposed application to the United States Environmental Protection Agency Community Change Grant Program.
Consent.
No objections, item going consent. All right, let's go on to the next portion of the agenda, staff reports. 24-0852, business equity. B, Aurora update. Michelle Clark and Jessica Price will be giving this presentation.
Good evening, Council. I'm Jessica Price, the MWBE Purchasing Coordinator, and we're just going to do a quick update on what's going on with our business equity program. So in January 2021, as you all know, we had a disparity study with Griffin and Strong, and we found disparities and underutilization of MWBE businesses, with the highest area being construction at 99.47%. So we wanted to act on this. We're dedicated to promoting an inclusive approach to procurement by focusing our efforts on those businesses that have been historically underutilized in contracting by actively promoting opportunities, education events, and partnerships with certifying agencies. We started with allocating additional resources. I was in the purchasing division for 11 years and then took on this new role and started working with Michelle Clark, the Director of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. We also procured a new software and implemented it. It's called B2G Now, where we can track our prime subcontractors and their subcontractors. They both will acknowledge whether they're MWBE participants or not, and then the subcontractors can also let us know when they are being paid by the primes to make sure that our smaller subcontractors are getting paid in a timely manner. So we're gathering this data through B2G Now to set goals in the future for MWBE goal setting. We want to make sure that we can achieve the goals and make sure that we have availability. So we're using that software to do that. We're assessing what availability is in our area. We're getting new businesses in through our vendor application process and through the business registration portal. And when we get those in, we're finding out where the business is at, if they need assistance with smaller things like just setting up a business plan. We are setting them up with our small business development centers. If they need help getting registered with the state of Illinois, we're helping them get there and trying to get all the people that are coming into us where they need to be to grow as a small business. We have officially started accepting the state of Illinois' Commission on Equity and Inclusion's Business Enterprise Program certification, And we're also encouraging people to become certified with the state of Illinois. Some procurement-specific outreach that we've been doing. We've done how to do business with the city of Aurora multiple times throughout this past year, where we've had hundreds of attendees. We're doing this Thursday, how to become certified with the state of Illinois, where we're bringing in someone from the state of Illinois to conduct that outreach. We're working with the union in ways for them to increase their MWBE participation within the union. In 2025, we have multiple things set up, just a few things that I can speak about. Michelle can talk on some more. We're going to have a 2025 buying plan showcase where we let vendors know what we plan on buying for this 2025 year so they can be informed before it comes out. An intro to government contracting where we take people through steps on how to sign up on our website, how to fill out a vendor application, how to read a bid or an RFP or an RFQ. And we're also going to do a reverse vendor fair. And let me also have Michelle come up now to speak more about outreach.
Thank you, Jessica. Michelle Clark, Director, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. So I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you about what we're doing with the Business Equity Initiative. I'm kind of passionate about this because this is our opportunity to have a real impact on business owners as well as the community. This work is about economic inclusion and closing gaps. In terms of the wealth gap in the United States, the Boston Consulting Group estimates there's a $10 trillion wealth gap in the U.S. And so to put that into context for you, 1 in 3 Black and brown households have near zero or negative net worth. For every Black and brown household with $200,000 in wealth, there are 4 Black and brown households that have less than $50,000 in wealth. Compare that to white households. For every white household with $200,000 in wealth, there is only 1 household with less than $50,000 in wealth. White households constitute about 60% nationally of the U.S. population, but they hold close to 84% of the total household wealth. And Black households, account for 13% of the U.S. population, but hold just about 4% of household wealth. So we do this work because it is an economic imperative. Homeownership and entrepreneurship are the 2 fastest ways in which we can build wealth in this country. And so the work that we're doing here is about creating an infrastructure that will encourage entrepreneurship and help existing businesses grow larger faster. So in addition to some of the events that Jessica mentioned, we are building a 2025 calendar. We will be providing programming to our business community once a month. And it involves some of the procurement programming that Jessica talked about, but it also involves partnerships. So one of the ones I'm most proud of is in January, we will offer a contracting boot camp in partnership with the WBDC, and we'll deliver that entirely in Spanish. The other things that we're doing is we are partnering with our partners so that we get the word out about opportunities to develop in the city of Aurora. So we're promoting city of Aurora to some of these contractors so they'd be willing to do business here. So we're partnering with folks like the Minority Business Development Agency. We're also going to be partnering with the Illinois Black Chamber of Commerce. And then we're building activities around the National Hispanic Heritage Month, around Small Business Saturday and National Veterans Small Business Week. So we are doing a lot of programming in terms of outreach so that we can let our business owners know where those resources are, how we connect them to those resources so that they can begin to scale and grow their business. Super excited about what we have planned. It's going to be a busy year for us, but our goal overall is to leverage expertise in our partnerships so that we have a very strong small business community, because when that small business community is thriving, the whole community thrives. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions?
I do have a question.
Alderman Smith.
Is it possible to get those black and brown percentiles for the city of Aurora? Because I believe what you gave were national average.
They were national.
Yeah.
I'll have to work with our
Yeah.
GIS folks to see what data we can get from the
It'd
census.
be really
on that.
interesting to see and to compare the two.
Yeah.
So,
I'll check.
Thank you. Thank you
Mhm.
for this. A lot of work. Thank you, guys.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Messiah.
Yeah, you didn't mention Latino, Hispanic.
I included them in the
economic-
black and the brown, so that's black families as well as
Oh.
Hispanic households. So
Okay.
instead of reading, they were the same numbers, and so instead of reading them separately, I read them together.
Okay, because we don't have any numbers in our docket. I just really don't know what the number is or whatnot, but it's okay, you don't have to answer that right now. Oh, does this program also include women and veteran-owned
It
type
does.
business? Okay, all right, because I wasn't sure about that, and I saw in the presentation something about working with the unions. Have you reached out, and are you working, and in what way? So with the building trades in our area?
So
The councils that we have?
So we've had a couple meetings with the unions. We met with, I think it's IIIFC something. We met with them. They are an organization, a union group, advocacy group in Iowa, Illinois, and Indiana. We met with them and talked about their workforce diversity issues. So how are they attracting women, minority-owned businesses to become union signatories? And then we had conversations with them to discuss what they're doing to attract young folks into the trades.
Yeah,
So we met with them, and then I have a meeting with Dr. Craig, who is our I don't know his official title, what his new official title with the city is.
Director of Education and Workforce Development.
That, what he said.
Okay.
Meeting with him
All right.
in order to talk about how we increase the number of young folks going into the trades and making those connections a little bit stronger.
Okay, because you mentioned assessing availability, one of you, in my notes here, so that's why I brought it up too. You know, if you've been reaching out to our local trades to assess availability in our area, and if you have that documented for yourselves.
We are about to receive a list of MWBEs that are already in the union. There's also some of our smaller businesses find it hard to understand the unions or how to become a signatory, and that's another event that we're going to have next year, is how to demystify becoming part of a union. So we're working closely with the union.
All right, thanks so much.
And just to be clear, we met with local union laborers, Brian Dahl and his team. We met right here in Aurora to talk about exactly that issue, how to get more minorities involved, even from a high school age, in the trades. Not every kid's going to go to college, but every kid needs the opportunity to make, to have a career and make a living in the future. And trades or IT or those that go to college are many options. But nevertheless, we need to make sure that those faces that we see in the jobs and on construction sites and receiving the contracts are black and brown faces as well as the white and Asian faces as well. We want to make sure we have equity throughout the city, which is why we entered into this engagement to have a disparity study that we worked on for the last couple of years. Unfortunately, COVID happened and it slowed us down a little bit, but we didn't take our foot off the pedal, and we made sure of it. As a matter of fact, that's why we hired Ms. Price here, and we even created the position for our DEI that Michelle is in now. So, with an eye on making sure we have equity across the board, recognizing that we're a minority city, that we've got to start acting like it. Alderman Lesh.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll try and keep it quick. The software that you mentioned, how many departments is that integrated into, and which ones?
It's just through the purchasing
B2
division.
through purchasing.
And then our vendors report in who their subcontractors are, and then the subcontractors come in and confirm that they have received the payment from the prime contractor.
Okay, and then I assume somewhere in here, I know we talked to Dr. Campbell when he came on about cataloging all the businesses in Aurora. Is that going to happen through this initiative, through his department, through Elevate Aurora? What's the plan?
It's a partnership
So
between
it's a big job, too.
equity, economic development, and purchasing to create that. And so that's part of the business registration initiative that we have.
Okay, and then you had also mentioned about assisting with state certification process. Is that something which department does that? And do we actually walk them through the process or just hold the workshop and let them meet the necessary state officials?
We don't personally certify, we're using the state of Illinois' certification, so they would go through the state of Illinois, and that's why this Thursday we have an event here where the state of Illinois is coming in and walking them through how to become certified with the state of Illinois.
Do we hold their hand through that process, or the state affiliate does?
We rely on our business development partners, so SBDC, WBDC, Illinois Minority Development Agency, to do that. They have the resources to go step by step and offer that technical support. So our job right now has been to say, Mr. Mrs. Business Owner, here's a resource. Let's give you some general information and then connect you to the experts who can get you through the process.
And just so it's clear,
As well as Apex.
Just so it's clear, we create partnerships with these other organizations and make sure that we connect these folks.
Yes, we have partnerships with them.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No further questions. Excellent presentation.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you both, ladies. We really appreciate. I'm sorry, Alderman Barreau, did you have a question? No. All right. Well, thank you very much. Let's give them a round of applause for their hard work that they're doing here in the city of Aurora. Well, there is no need for a closed session. There's been a motion adjourned by Alderman Smith, second by Alderman Franco. All in favor?
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned.